Good evening, you're watching the NewsTrack. I'm Gaurav Sawant. There's massive escalation in Pakistan-Afghanistan tensions, not just along the 2,600-kilometer long Durand line, but also in the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa region inside Pakistan. At least 7 Pakistan Army soldiers have been killed, more than 13 injured in what Islamabad describes as coordinated suicide attack inside a Pakistan Army garrison in North Waziristan. The Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan has claimed responsibility for this strike inside Pakistan Army garrison. Pakistan Air Force attack helicopters and fighter jets are in the air. Clashes are being reported on ground, and this attack started just hours before Pakistan and Afghan Taliban began peace talks mediated by Qatar in Doha. And these are high-level interactions in Doha. Pakistan Army brass meeting Taliban's defense minister Yaqub Mujahid and intelligence chief and other officials. The aim to prevent not just escalation but also retribution strikes by the Taliban. The 48-hour ceasefire ends later this evening. Islamabad says Kabul hasn't stopped cross-border attacks. Kabul has hit back, accusing Pakistan of bombing civilian areas and even sheltering Islamic State Khorasan module. And these are groups that, according to Afghanistan, are linking up with Lashkar-e-Taiba and Pakistan's ISI in an attempt to destabilize Afghanistan. And while Pakistan claims it wants peace and dialogue along the Durand line, Pakistan's motor-mouth Defense Minister Khawaja Asif is already beating war drums on Pakistan television. He said Pakistan is also geared up for a two-front war. Asked if he expects India to get involved at a time when tensions between Pakistan and Afghanistan are at an all-time high, Khawaja Asif, voice almost shaking, replied, absolutely, you cannot rule that out. He went on to say strategies are being put in place, that Pakistan is prepared for any eventuality, which clearly is not true given the number of body bags and coffins that are coming back from the Durand line. India and the United States of America are in an advanced stage of negotiations to conclude the trade deal by fall. The Indian delegation is currently in the United States of America for talks, and Union Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal is confident, saying as the fastest growing large economy in the world with 6.6% GDP growth expected this year and 7.8% last quarter, India remains the favored and preferred destination both for investment and for trade. He said India has an active dialogue with the United States of America and the European Union, along with Chile, New Zealand, and Oman. Mukesh, Aghi, President and CEO of the US-India Strategic Partnership Forum, joins me to talk about the trade delegation in the United States, the challenges, and the road ahead. But before that, let's quickly listen in to Union Minister Piyush Goyal.
As the fastest growing large economy in the world, with 7.8% GDP growth last quarter, 6.6% GDP growth expected in this year, a strong macroeconomic story in India is helping to shape our global partnerships. You are all aware we have done FTAs with many developed nations in the last few years under Prime Minister Narendra Modi. We are in active dialogue with the United States of America, with European Union, with Chile, Peru, New Zealand, Oman, clearly showing that India is the favored and preferred destination both for investment and for bilateral trade.
Mukesh Aghi is the President and Chief Executive Officer of the US-India Strategic Partnership Forum. Sir, welcome on India Today. There is an Indian delegation currently in the United States to discuss tariffs. How do you see US-India trade talks proceeding right now at a time when India's outrightly rejected US President Donald Trump's claims that Prime Minister Narendra Modi had a telephonic conversation with him and assured him that New Delhi will stop buying Russian oil?
Well, you have to understand both are separate issues. Trade is critical for India, for job creation, for investment. And for the US, Indian goods are very critical also for that market. So I think trade agreement will come to a conclusion, hopefully in the next couple of weeks. And as far as India basically denying Trump's claim that he had a call with PM Modi yesterday and where Prime Minister committed that he will stop buying Russian oil, I think you have to understand that you will see a lot of hyperbole coming from the president. And we need to have a thick skin and not react to it. And this is more for the opposition in India, because you have to look at what's good for the country. And if you start basically playing politics within domestic environment where you are targeting the prime minister by saying that you made a commitment to the president of the United States, I think that does not go well in international arena.
Okay. So it's already mid-October. Are you confident, are you hopeful that a deal may be clinched by fall, by November? Because according to you, what are the major challenges that still remain? What are the hurdles right now?
Well, I think the challenge I see it is more of a style, not of substance, because both India has gone way out of its way to provide a lot of flexibility on the goods coming in, on the tariffs, and also working on the non-tariff barriers. I think the challenge is Trump is looking for headline news while we are caught up in nuts and bolts itself. So we need to look at what kind of headline news we can give to the president so he can move forward. Because what we have seen since April, India was one of the first countries early on when the prime minister met with the president in February to be able to conclude the deal. But every time Trump's people went back to the president, he kept on moving the goalpost. So I believe that when the prime minister goes to the ASEAN summit next week and there's a sideline meeting with the President Trump, they should be able to wrap up the deal with some kind of an announcement. So that's the expectations we have at the moment.
Okay. Okay, I'll come to the headline news or what can be the headline point that India can give to the US in just a moment. But I want to quote statistics of the Commerce Ministry. So India's merchandise exports to the US, for example, that's declined by 11.93%. It's declined to $5.46 billion, and that's in the month of September, where these 50% tariffs kicked in. Imports increased by 11.78% to about $3.98 billion. These figures seem to indicate that the US has become India's most adversely affected market since the tariff hikes began. Key sectors that we've spoken about, textiles, gems and jewelry, engineering goods, chemicals, they bear the brunt. So is there a long-term impact of this tariff escalation on US-India relationship?
Absolutely not. You have to understand these numbers fluctuates. And obviously the 50% tariff on Indian goods, especially on garments and gems and jewelries, did get impacted from an export perspective. But it is not, the relationship is not just only about tariff. We're looking at US investment coming into India. We're looking at US technology coming into India. The global capability centers are going up, and 60% are US. So I would say that the investment momentum has not slowed down from US into India, regardless of what percentage of tariffs we have. But more important is, I have talked to roughly 70 plus global CEOs in the last 2 months, and not a single one has made a statement to me that they will move the investment out of the country or they'll move the supply chain out of the country from India itself. I think the commitment and the leverage of India stays on for the US CEOs.
Okay. So on the 8th of October, Indian-American Congressman Ro Khanna, Congresswoman Deborah Ross, they led a 19-member delegation to urge US President Donald Trump to take immediate steps to repair the strained ties, to reverse these tariff policies. What are the signals, according to you, from both sides to bring temperatures down? What can you tell us about back-channel communication that's happening? You've talked about CEOs and their stance, but the White House?
Absolutely. I think when the president tweeted happy birthday greetings to the prime minister, that brought the temperature down. And he made a call to the prime minister. Since then, they talked a couple of times on multiple issues. The prime minister has congratulated the president on Gaza's success itself. And at the moment, there's a communication going on to see what India can do to basically bring a solution to Ukraine-Russian war itself. So I think there are communication happening, there are effort happening between the prime minister and the president, and also within respective ministries here and also in Washington, D.C. So I think those things have not slowed down. The focus is, yes, the White House, but otherwise the rest of the engine continues to move forward.
Okay. Okay. What about the thaw in India-China relationship? You know, Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited China after a gap of 7 years. There's resumption of direct flights between India and China after this freeze. Do you think the thaw in India-China relationship will also impact India-US relationship?
Well, when the Prime Minister was in SCO summit and there was a picture which flashed all across the world, Prime Minister along with President Putin and President Xi, it did send a message to America. In fact, people said, we're asking the question, who lost India? And I think that picture really alarmed a lot of people, saying that we need to basically rebuild our effort and relationship with India. So I would say that there are efforts being put in by the State Department, by the Defense Department in the US to ensure the relationship does not go in this way. But when I look at, in Delhi itself, the trust factor has dissipated. And some people call this is the 1971 movement for Indians itself. So I would say the damage is quite deep, and we need to work hard to win that heart and soul of the leadership in India, and we'll have to keep on working at that.
Oh, you're absolutely right about that. And one more reason that may lead to damage, or at least there are fresh concerns in India over Trump administration's decision to impose this $100,000 fee on the new H-1B visa applicants. This think tank, GTRI, that suggested that President Trump's decision to significantly raise the visa fee may negatively impact US ties more than with India, and it may adversely impact the US more. There are those who are going to court. So in your view, who stands to lose? And is this a blessing in disguise for India?
Well, the H-1B $100,000 fee does not do any damage to the Indian economy. You have to understand that the low-end jobs on H-1B, which were being done in the US, and they'll move to India. And the high-end jobs will get a much higher compensation structure itself. But where it really hurts the US economy is the startups, which can't afford $100,000 fee. The nurses, the teachers, whose compensation are much, much lower. So I would say that it does have an impact on the US ecosystem. And because this is only a one-year cycle, if you want to go next year again for $100,000 fee, the executive order has to come out from the president. So I would say that the damage is limited, and a lot of this work will move to India.
A lot of work will move to India. So, you know, you'd mentioned this just a short while back, that there should be some big headline that Donald Trump can walk away with. So what is that headline that India and the United States could agree to that would give momentum to the negotiations without compromising India's core concerns, and especially on agriculture and dairy?
Well, you have to basically look at today, the trade between two countries is $200 billion. And the February statement put out by the White House basically envisage to take it to $500 billion by 2030. And I think we need to look at a trade deal which announces a $1 trillion trade between the two countries going forward by 2040. That's a great headline news. Or look at India has over 250 Boeing plane orders. You talk to other airlines in India and look at how you can make that to a 500 Boeing plane orders. Or look at buying a bulk of $50 billion worth of energy from the US, or look at the defense equipment. So I think there are ways to package this without compromising India's position and giving the headline to the president.
Okay. In a recent interview, sir, former US Ambassador Rahm Emanuel, he accused President Donald Trump of destroying decades of US-India ties, perhaps because of his ego. He also alleged that Trump sought a Nobel Prize and Trump and his family are benefiting from Pakistan-linked money. Now, do you believe the recent strains in India-US relations stem from President Trump's personal or family business interests?
Well, you have to understand you have a country, Pakistan, whose economy is in tatters, and its approach to basically dealing with Trump is to give up whatever is left, either buying cryptocurrency or giving a port or rare minerals which don't exist itself. And that's a short-term game. In the long term, that's not sustainable. Whereas India provides a market opportunity of an economy which is $4 trillion, which will go up to $10 trillion in the next few years itself, a population whose spending power is going up 15% annually itself. And we have seen the example of Apple, which was doing not much domestic business in India a few years ago. Now its domestic sale has crossed over $8 billion. So I think India provides real market opportunity to US companies. It provides real intellectual engine for its GCCs. So India provides substance, whereas there's no substance coming out from Pakistan.
Okay. So, Mr. Aghi, what gives you confidence that between Diwali and Christmas, there'll be a happy Diwali and there'll be Merry Christmas for US-India trade ties beyond the current challenges?
No, absolutely. I think both countries have no choice but to come to an agreement so you can start focusing on building the relationship, start building employment in both countries, investment in both countries. And so it does serve the interests of the United States and India to come to some kind of understanding. You have to understand, it's not just about trade deal. It's about geopolitics. It's about technology. It's about, we have 300,000 Indian students in the US. You have 6 million Indian Americans in the US who are contributing substantially to the domestic economy. So I think the relationship is not just a trade deal, it's much broader and deeper, and we will come to some understanding in the near future.
Okay, great. On that note, let me wish you, your family, and your friends a very happy Diwali, and many thanks for joining me here on India Today.
Thank you, and a happy Diwali.
A first for Asia and a leap for the open web. The India Today group has launched Deeper Dive in collaboration with content discovery platform Taboola. Deeper Dive is an AI-powered search and discovery experience that promises to change how audiences engage with trusted journalism. India Today Group Vice Chairperson Kalli Purie sat down with Taboola founder and CEO Adam Singolda for a candid conversation about technology, trust, music, and the future of news in the age of AI.
A strategic first for the Asia-Pacific region. The India Today Group and Taboola unveiled a joint vision with the launch of Deeper Dive, an AI-powered question engine that is redefining how audiences engage with trusted journalism. The group's Vice Chairperson Kalli Purie and Taboola CEO Adam Singolda sat down to discuss a partnership built on a shared mission to ensure the open web can compete and thrive against the dominance of big tech walled gardens.
Best part about good partnerships is when both sides want the other to win. And in too many partnerships, that's not the case.
Adam Singolda made clear that this launch is part of a larger global commitment to ethical partnerships.
We actually announced yesterday that this year we expect to generate and pay to publishers more than $1.5 billion. A company I started in my parents' house.
The CEO was also direct about the companies that fail to honor the content ecosystem.
I'm not okay with not sending traffic to publishers. I'm not okay with not paying money to publishers. I'm not okay with stealing content from publishers. I don't think that's okay. So for me, I love the fight.
For the India Today Group, the core of the challenge and the opportunity is to quickly adapt to consumers, building new habits and giving them a search capability that's more intuitive. Adam Singolda praised the media group's pioneering culture.
With India Today and Taboola, we're so lucky because you love change.
Yeah, we love change.
You love innovation. You're not afraid of making a mistake, which is the most important ingredient of growth.
Yeah.
Why is the stock market down?
Well, there's the tariff news, but some people think it can also be weak earnings from tech stocks and rising bond yields.
Deeper Dive addresses a critical, unmet need. It's not just a tool for readers, but a feedback loop that informs newsroom strategy.
And that's a really great learning back as a full circle to our editors to say...
Yeah, the queries.
Yeah, the queries. Like, what are people searching for that we're not getting right? Why is this not, like, on our homepage? Why didn't we upfront this on the headline, etc.? I think that will be really good learning for us, right?
It's fascinating to get front seat to this raw data of consumers of what they actually want to know.
Yeah.
This new AI engine creates what the group calls an AI sandwich, where the machine provides the instant answer, but the human verified journalism provides the conviction. The consumer always returns to the content they trust.
The desire for a human verified, editorial-driven point of view is going to be like organic food. You know, we're going to need it like humans need healthy food.
Yeah.
The launch concluded on an unexpectedly high note, with the CEO dedicating a performance to the spirit of their partnership and shared innovation.
Oh, wow, I know this song.
You know it?
Yes. Tere yaar kahan.
Adam plays the piano, smiles and accepts applause.
Wow. Friendships that are going to be written about for ages to come.
You see?
Our legacy. All other partners, please be warned.
I mean,
this
yeah.
is the standard.
We're setting
this is
the
the standard
very
that
high.
Taboola is setting.
Yeah. So thank you so much again for
Thank
Deeper
you
Dive,
so
for
much.
the friendship, for having us. You're the best.
Thank you very much.